G'day everyone, and welcome to this information snippet about the SSSI Firewater Map-a-thon, lined up for the 31st of October 2020 and running for a full 24 hours around the globe. Find out more at ssi.org.au/events. This map-a-thon is leveraging the power of citizen science to collect information on static water supply infrastructure to help in bushfire preparedness efforts. In late 2019 and early 2020, Australia was hit by horrific megafires, and since then, fires have been burning around the world. SSSI are grateful to our sponsors, without which this map-a-thon would not be possible. The Victorian Government, Geoscience Australia, ICSM, NEARMAP, NGIS, the Grow Data Foundation, and the International Federation of Surveyors Volunteer Community Surveyors Program. Joining us today, we have John Rusiak and Leo Gaggle from the Grow Data Foundation, interviewed by Donny Darmawan from the SSSI Young Professionals.
So first of all, I just wanted to thank you for your time. And I would just want to ask first and foremost, maybe John, you can start first. Can you tell me about yourself and the work that you do? And then Leo, I would ask the same thing.
Yes, I've got a day job in government as an ICT strategist, but Leo and I are both part of a non-for-profit eco-tech group called the Growing Data Foundation. Part of the things that we've been looking at over the last several years has been remote monitoring, really, because data really helps you make great decisions about environmental issues. And with the nature of nature, you really need to have a radio network that's robust and long range. So we came across the Things Network in, I think it was 2016, and we started the South Australian chapter of the Things Network. So our community is called the Adelaide IoT an open data meetup, and we actually convened the Adelaide the Things Network group, which actually encompasses basically the whole of South Australia as well. So we count regions as being part of Adelaide. I'm not sure that they like it that much, but they're part of our little community as well. And I think from Leo, you shared a slide the other day about the density of gateways that we've got. So what the density per population in South Australia is fairly well in advance of other states. So we take a little bit of a lead in LoRaWAN in Australia.
Yeah.
For example, last year we ran the first Asia Pacific the Things Network conference. So that's our background. We needed a radio network to connect our remote sensors. One of the first projects we did was remote sensing for nesting boxes as urban habitat. As habitat is decreasing in urban areas, we need more and more artificial hollows for native animals. And we really, apart from physical inspections, you've got no idea whether those boxes are being utilised. So we saw a need for that, and then we had that need for that LoRaWAN network to be built as well.
Fantastic. And Leo, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and the work that you do as well?
Yeah, so my day job is very much in technology as well. So I am the managing director of Open Sensing. So we do these types of sensing solutions for largely viticulture and local government. So that's our focus area, very much a focus on regional South Australia at the moment. So as John mentioned, we are assisting in the rollout of these kinds of gateways, but also finding new and interesting sensor solutions. And then obviously my background for the last 30 years is sort of data-based web applications. So we are then obviously dealing with the data and increasingly also a bit of a GIS focus as well. So then also the spatial component to the data. Previously we were doing more relational data work, but the focus is changing a lot to more geospatial data.
Great. And I noticed you spoke a lot about data. So could you please tell us a little bit about why data is an important element, especially to the water industry and also to the Firewater app?
Yeah. I suppose that what I'd probably like to make a pretty strong point that we're very much open data advocates. So the licensing of the data to us is very important because being in the IT business for a long time, so many problems come about because people siloing data, people claiming ownership of data, even government data that really should be owned by the public has been kept from the public. And there are lots of different reasons that happens. A lot of it historical, some of it's legal. So we really strongly encourage open data because you can't really make good decisions without being well informed. It's a very simple premise, and the more data you have and the more reliable it is, the better decisions you can make. There are lots of other different reasons why open data is good, but that's particularly why we like to use it. And it kind of goes hand in hand with open source software as well. So open systems, open databases, open mapping solutions, and Creative Commons licensing is very important to what we do at the Growing Data Foundation.
I might throw in also standards. John sort of probably covered the open data aspect. For me, I'm one of these boring technical people that likes to harp on about standards. But that is really one of the big hurdles that we found in the past. There is great data sets out there, and we've just recently taken part in GovHack, which is I think it's international now, so New Zealand and Australia hackathon, weekend hackathon, where government makes available open data sets, and then the competition is who can do the best application or idea based on those data sets. And there's some really great data sets out there. It's the combination between those data sets and being able to connect them. So to me, the standards that allow this data interchange to flow freely are also quite important.
Absolutely. I'm a strong advocate of open data myself. Okay, Leo, perhaps you can tell a little bit about what you're going to be doing when SSSI is also going to host this map-a-thon on the day.
Yeah, we actually will be in Kangaroo Island doing a deployment of some more tank sensors, also some other sensors. We're extending the reach of the network in Kangaroo Island, other than water monitoring and tank water level monitoring, also to some species monitoring projects. So we are hoping to assist the monitoring of the glossy black cockatoo, which has suffered a lot during the most recent fires. We are looking at monitoring some koala watering stations, but we're also looking at helping the recovery of the bee population. There's a fairly sizable apiary industry in Kangaroo Island that has suffered fairly huge losses, and we're looking at some sensors for assisting beekeepers with their hive management, and obviously water management is a big part of that.
That's absolutely great.
So during the map-a-thon, hopefully we'll be doing some live crosses to Kangaroo Island, depending on how good they're.
I'll be hiking around on Kangaroo Island, so hopefully the coverage will be good.
So that might be interesting, just to cut down to people working in the field, and combining that with all the great work that's going to be happening during the map-a-thon.
If you meet a guy in Kangaroo Island running around with a field tester with this large antenna, you know who that is.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. Okay, I guess my next question is on emerging technologies. With data and remote sensing being at the forefront of our industry now, how do you perceive the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning on data and applications? And how can we use it more readily?
Well, specifically with this application in relation to this map-a-thon, depending on the model you're using for AI, more data is better. But also you want to have real people checking the results to help validate the models that you've built. What we particularly are hoping out of this map-a-thon is to really be able to start using Vision AI to identify groundwater sources. So and this is particularly important when the groundwater sources are variable or seasonal in some areas. In some areas, for example, in your peninsula, where the genesis of this program actually started, there's no open water sources because of the nature of the geology there. But in a lot of places, you do have access to what we call groundwater. It's not, I don't think that's actually the technical term, it's surface water. The trouble is, you know, is that nobody's actually got a definitive database about that. So we're hoping this quality, this data, this AI learnings can really help reinforce the data set that we've got about water sources nationwide. Of course, added with our tank water sensors as well. AI can also help with, so if we train the models properly, perhaps we can start measuring volume from aerial photography and satellite imagery. And also perhaps we can start looking at journey planning as well, because it's no good having a water source if it's at the bottom of a quarry and you can't get to it. So all these questions are interesting ones for artificial intelligence, and probably a role there to play.
From our sensing perspective, we also obviously are starting to use edge devices that have tiny ML sort of AI models deployed to really power constrained, low power wide area network devices, and we're hoping to test some of those using audio profiling for B sensors. So there's quite a lot of areas of applications of AI, both in the water as well as the species protection aspect.
Yeah. So the edge use cases, the edge computing use cases, really open up the LoRaWAN network to many more use cases, which traditionally might have been seen as being out of reach of LoRaWAN because it's such a low bandwidth network. But the point of it is really then to say, okay, let's do that edge computing and just send decisions. That really opens up a whole bunch of use cases above simple sensing. So we're really excited about the way that machine learning can be applied in the field on standalone devices.
Great. Fantastic. So I guess this is just a last question in terms of, in the lead up to the SSSI Firewater Map-a-thon, how can we learn more about the Growing Data Foundation Firewater, and also if there is any website or any links that you can provide us so people can find out more information?
Well, yes, so the Growing Data Foundation itself has got a nice website, and the address is, Leo?
It's gdf.org.au, so that's the main website. We also have a dashboard that is available upon request, so that's where we make a lot of this data, including the data for the visualization of data available, including from the tank monitor sensors. And I've just this weekend completed also our own open data repository, but that will be hosted on data.gdf.org.au, but at the moment it's hosting precious little, so keep an eye on that space.
We're also on LinkedIn, so if you want to reach out on LinkedIn, and if you just search for Growing Data Foundation, all those sort of socials should pop up.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time, John and Leo, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
See you at the Map-a-thon.